Joro is a loser who was rejected by his best friends for being an edgy loner. However, his virgin life takes a turn when the busty nerdy girl of the class confesses her love to him, making all the girls in school envious and wanting to get Joro's sausage back. But before this, it all begins when Joro starts his school's second year, and first thing in the morning, he gets some special treatment from his childhood best friend, Himawari. She clings to his arm, with her soft jelly pressing against him. When they arrive in class, Taio greets them with his usual enthusiasm. Taio jokes that he's glad Joro and Himawari are still close, and adds that he'll be nearby all year too. Joro is about to head to the student council room when Cosmos, the stunning student council president, walks into the classroom. She announces that she's here for her precious secretary of the student council, Joro. Taio teases Joro, jealous that Cosmos called him precious. Suddenly, Himawari gets jealous seeing the interaction. Later, in the student council room after a meeting, Cosmos starts acting strangely again. Out of the blue, she asks Joro to go out with her on Saturday. Completely stunned, he agrees, as there's no way he's turning down a date with the most popular baddie in school. That night, Joro is floating on cloud 9 when Himawari texts him and asks to hang out on Saturday too. But he can't skip his date with Cosmos, so he suggests Sunday instead, and she agrees. Saturday comes. Joro waits at the meeting spot, both nervous and excited. Cosmos arrives looking gorgeous. They go to a cafe, shop for clothes, have a picnic, and everything feels perfect until sunset comes. Cosmos asks him to sit with her on a bench. She seems nervous, shy, and sweet. She talks about being in love, how just thinking about the person makes her heart race, how seeing them makes her happy, and Joro believes that he's in the money for some plot progression. Joro braces himself for a kiss, but then Cosmos drops the bomb and reveals that she's in love with Joro's best friend, Taio. Joro's dreams of romance and expanding her domain come crashing down. Cosmos explains that it all started after the last baseball tournament. After a loss, Taio comforted his teammates, but when he thought no one was watching, he went into the locker room and cried out of frustration. That moment made Cosmos fall for him. She begs Joro to help her get closer to Taio because he's his best friend. Joro feels like he's been struck by lightning, but her pleading puppy eyes break him down, so he agrees to help. The next day is Himawari's date. Still emotionally wrecked, Joro tries to enjoy it, but Himawari notices his long face, so she jumps on his back and hugs him tightly. With her jello squishing into him, Joro panics, but he thanks Himawari for bringing his mood back. Despite everything, the date goes well. They eat lunch, shop at a sports store, and relax at a playground. Just when Joro thinks it's over, Himawari asks him to sit with her on a bench, similar to the one Cosmos asked him to sit on.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Suddenly, she gets nervous about wanting to reveal something, which reminds Joro of Cosmos, and his fear comes true when she confesses that she's in love with Taio. She says she fell for him during the same baseball game, except she saw him cry from the west entrance, unlike Cosmos who saw him from the east, and now she's asking for Joro's help to get closer to him. To Joro, it's a double knockout. 2 girls, 2 rejections. Both chasing the same guy, and they want Joro to be the bridge. But he can't say no to Himawari, so he agrees again. That night, Joro spirals and drops his nice guy act, as he's been trying to be a decent guy. He just wanted one girl to like him, to enjoy a normal romantic high school life. But no, it's all Taio this, Taio that, which angers him. However, there's a sliver of hope, as he realizes that with 2 girls chasing the same guy, one of them is bound to lose. If he helps both, maybe he can catch the one left behind. The next day, Joro drags himself to school, soul-crushed. Himawari greets him with a bright smile, one that he secretly resents. To him, she's a manipulative best friend who uses her plots to use him. He bluntly tells her that Cosmos confessed her love for Taio the same way she did. Himawari isn't surprised as she already suspected it when Cosmos entered the classroom the other day. When Joro says he'll help both girls, Himawari pouts, thinking he won't support her, but he clarifies that he's staying neutral. Satisfied, Himawari hugs him again, but Joro's irritated, as he knows that she doesn't even like him and questions why she clings to him like it means something. He creates a plan for her, and Joro tells her not to enter class with him, so Taio notices she's missing, but she nearly blows the plan by acting awkward like a riskless imbecile. So, Joro has to improvise, claiming he has student council duties and leaves her with Taio so they can talk privately. In the council room, Joro meets Cosmos, and he now sees her as another manipulative beauty who played on his pure heart. When he tells her that Himawari wants the same thing, Cosmos wants him on her side, but he tells her that he's on both of their side. He tells her that he has a strategy for her, and Cosmos is thrilled. She lovingly grabs his hand, but it angers Joro as it has no feelings behind it. Then, Joro sets up Cosmos, and she is supposed to bond with Taio by talking about baseball. But she clams up, acts stiff, and blows her chance. For the whole day, both girls kept pestering Joro for help. Exhausted, he escapes to the library, but only to get cornered by the school's strangest girl, Pansy. She's the library manager and has a weird, unsettling way of speaking, especially to Joro. She asks him to talk to her, and when Joro tries to brush her off, she threatens to expose his secrets unless he talks to her. To his shock, she knows everything. About Cosmos, about Himawari, and his plan to play Cupid for them. When Jiro demands to know how, she smirks and says she's been stalking him. Pansy asks him to talk, and from out of nowhere, the same damn bench shows up. She sits him down with the same tone and same setup, but Jiro is pleased to know that she also loves Taio. To his shock, she doesn't, and she confesses that she loves him.
You did it, sir.
I did it?
When Jiro tries his nice guy act, she scolds him for faking it and tells him that she's in love with the real, edgy version of him. However, she doesn't ask for his love and only asks for one thing, which is to talk with Jiro during lunch every day. Jiro keeps his promise and has lunch in the library with Pansy. When Jiro shows his disinterest in talking to her, Pansy threatens to spill his secret to Taio, blackmailing him to connect with her. She starts by handing him some cookies, then leans in with a flirty grin and asks how he plans to help Himawari and Cosmos. First up is Himawari, who wants to see a movie and already has 2 tickets. But instead of inviting Taio herself, she asks Jiro to do it for her. He asks why she can't just ask him directly, but she gets annoyed, hugs him, and tells him that since he's best friends with Taio, he should do it. He comes up with a plan and later tells Taio he accidentally bought 2 tickets to a movie he's already seen. He suggests Taio take someone else with him, like Himawari. The plan nearly falls apart when Himawari pops up overly excited and starts acting weird, but Jiro covers with a quick lie. In the end, she gets her movie date. Next is Cosmos. She shows up with a full bento lunch, and Jiro immediately knows that she wants to eat with Taio and needs his help. The plan is to guide Taio towards the student council room, where Cosmos is waiting and ready to invite him out. However, she starts acting like some dramatic samurai, and Jiro has to step in and convince Taio himself. Taio agrees, but also invites Jiro to join. Jiro quickly lies saying that he got baddies waiting for him to eat and leaves the scene so the 2 of them can have lunch together. She listens patiently and then points out the obvious that he's forgetting someone important, Taio. Jiro realizes he has no clue who Taio actually likes. During gym class, Jiro decides to go straight to the source and asks Taio who he likes. Taio gets flustered and suggests they talk somewhere more private.
You are gay.
They end up, of course, at that same cursed bench that pops up straight from hell. Jiro braces himself, already suspecting a complicated love triangle, and Taio drops the bomb that Jiro has already suspected, and that Taio likes Pansy. He explains that it started during the last baseball tournament. Pansy encouraged him at the South Gate after his loss. Ever since then, she's been on his mind, and now, like the others, he wants Jiro's help, but Jiro realizes that he's now in a sticky situation, so he claims he's not even that close to Pansy. As they wrap up the talk, Taio compares the whole mess to baseball and asks what Jiro would do, and he encourages him to go get the home run by himself. Now, Jiro's stuck. He can either keep helping Himawari and Cosmos chase Taio or help Taio chase Pansy. In the end, he chooses Taio. He arranges to meet Pansy and suddenly starts acting super awkward. She notices right away, and Jiro asks how she feels about Taio. She instantly sees where this is going and shuts it down. She tells him flat out that she doesn't like Taio and that the man she likes is in front of her. Jiro tries to push her to try Taio anyway, but she pulls her hand away and tells him to stop. People start whispering nearby and Pansy looks hurt by his suggestion, as all she wanted was a simple moment with Jiro, but he's too busy trying to pimp her off on someone else. Suddenly, Taio shows up and sees Jiro with Pansy, despite Jiro claiming they aren't close. Taio's ready to confront him, and Jiro's frozen, but Pansy steps in and saves him with a lie, saying they were just discussing a library inspection because the library might shut down. Later, Pansy texts Jiro and tells him to stay away from the library and to come back on Monday. Jiro does as she says and focuses on helping the other 2 girls with Taio for the next few days. That night, Cosmos messages him to meet up. When he sees her, she's radiating an ominous aura that something's definitely wrong. Turns out Taio confessed to her about liking Pansy and asked for her help. Cosmos realizes Jiro already knew and feels betrayed. Jiro tries to explain that he didn't want to hurt her, but she doesn't buy it. Because of his vague baseball advice, she now has to help the guy she likes pursue someone else. Furious, she storms off, calling him a jerk. Not long after, Himawari texts him too. Jiro rushes to her house and gets hit with the same situation. Taio told her everything and asked for her help getting close to Pansy. She's upset that Jiro never warned her and doesn't listen to his explanation. She gets angry and shuts him out. The next day, Himawari doesn't walk to school with him, and Cosmos is missing from the student council room. Then, Pansy texts him to meet at the library. When Jiro arrives, Pansy tells him the truth that things are about to get seriously messy. All his work trying to help the girls is now useless, as now, both Cosmos and Himawari have given up on their crushes and decided to help Taio instead. Before Jiro can even respond, the library doors open. To his shock, Himawari, Cosmos, and Taio walk into the library together, ready to drag him even deeper into the chaos. Taio confronts Jiro, asking him if he lied to him, and while he tries to explain himself, suddenly everyone starts ganging up on him, calling him a liar and accusing him of manipulating Cosmos and Himawari. Cosmos acts like she totally misjudged him, saying she thought he was a respectable underclassman. Himawari looks disappointed too, saying she always believed he was a great best friend. but none of them seem to remember they were the ones who asked for his help in the first place. Joro finally snaps. He vents all his frustration, telling them straight up that they all wanted the easy way out, expecting everything to magically work out while he was left cleaning up the mess. And now they're blaming him for it. They claimed he was important to them, but in the end, they only saw him as a tool to get close to Taio. He thinks that telling the truth will finally make them understand. But then Pansy hits him with another question and asks him why, if he were trying to help the girls get with Taio, then why was he trying to make her accept Taio? The room goes still. Everyone's side-eyeing Joro again, and it looks like he's been playing all sides. Before Joro can defend himself, Taio punches him and drags him out of the library, saying he doesn't deserve to be around any of these baddies. Just before the door shuts, Pansy leans in and whispers to him to trust her. Word spreads fast. A girl in the library saw everything, and soon the whole school's buzzing with rumors of him being a manipulator. Joro's shoes get vandalized. Cosmos tells him not to come to the student council room anymore, and even the table where he used to eat lunch gets turned into a joke as someone turns it into a mini golf course. Just when it feels like things can't get worse, Pansy texts him. She tells him to come to the library during lunch and warns that if he doesn't, things will only spiral further. Joro shows up demanding answers, but instead of explaining, Pansy calmly tells him to grab a book from the back aisle. While he's back there, to his surprise, Taio walks in. He's been coming to the library lately trying to talk to Pansy, even inviting her to watch him practice baseball. That's when Pansy makes her move. She tells Taio there's something she needs to say. He perks up, clearly expecting a confession, but what she says hits like a brick as she asks him why he lied to Joro and set him up. While Taio freezes, Pansy lays it out how she knows he figured out Cosmos and Himawari's feelings for him a long time ago. Instead of helping, he used their emotions to frame Joro. She saw the signs that the girls clearly liked Taio, but he pretended not to notice. Also, he could manipulate them and turn them against Joro. She calls him out. Joro didn't want to help Taio bag Pansy, so Taio changed tactics. He used the girls to get closer to her, making Joro look like the villain along the way. All the while, it was Joro who asked her to consider giving Taio a chance. Taio finally cracks. He admits that it's because he once lost to Joro before. He revealed how there was a girl he liked, but she ended up falling for Joro. He tried to expose Joro's true nature back then, but nothing worked, as the girl still fell for him. And now, with Pansy liking Joro too, he just couldn't take it. So he tried to ruin Joro's friendships just to make him feel the same pain. He starts laughing about how easy it was to trick Cosmos and Himawari, calling them naive and stupid. He asks why Pansy even likes Joro in the first place. Pansy stares him down and says he doesn't understand a thing. She reveals that Joro always put Taio first, helping him to get Pansy, even while helping the girls. And it disgusts her how Taio still Tsubaki to betray that trust. That's why she could never like him. Pansy reveals she's liked Joro since the last baseball tournament, not because of the game, but because of what he did afterward. She revealed that after Taio's loss, Joro waited with all of Taio's favorite food, even while everyone else laughed at him. But that's when she fell for him. Joro is stunned as he doesn't even remember meeting her that day. All he recalls is being distracted by a mysterious, beautiful girl with luscious plots. Pansy just smiles as after seeing how Joro never got jealous of his friend, she knows that that's the kind of person someone can fall for. But Taio doesn't back off. Thinking the library's empty, he tries to make a move on her out of desperation, saying that he's going to go P. Diddy. However, Pansy doesn't flinch. She knows Joro is still there, and that's when he steps out from behind the shelves, which shocks Taio. Joro faces him and states that while he agrees with how the girls might have been naive, it doesn't give Taio the right to mess with their feelings. He tells Taio that if he's mad at him, then take it out on him, but don't drag Cosmos and Himawari into it, as their feelings for Taio were real. He demands that Taio apologize to them, and Taio agrees to his demand. Taio asks what he's going to do with the nasty rumors surrounding him, and Joro shrugs, saying that he's ready to face the consequences of his own stupidity. That makes Taio realize he's lost to Joro again, this time to his kindness. After Taio leaves, Pansy apologizes for cornering Joro earlier, but he just brushes it off, saying that it's no big deal. She tells him that she still loves him, but Joro walks away, saying that he won't come back. After Joro leaves, Pansy calls for someone, and the girls step out from where they were hiding the whole time, listening. The next day, Joro braces himself for another round of bullying, but to his surprise, he finds Cosmos, who guarded his shoe cabinet, and she apologizes, and he realizes that his shoes are clean. When he gets to class, Himawari is standing guard by his desk, not letting anyone vandalize it. After class, Taio stands in front of everyone and apologizes, finally confessing the truth about everything he did. Joro tells Pansy how it all went. She smiles and asks if he ever wondered why Taio liked her in the first place, and Joro doesn't. Suddenly, Pansy stands up and transforms. She lets her outer self drop, revealing her true appearance. The same beautiful girl from the baseball tournament, the one with the perfect plots that Joro couldn't forget. She leans in and asks if he'll keep visiting her. After realizing it's the girl of his dreams, he awkwardly agrees. Before he leaves, she gives him a quick kiss on the cheek and calls it a reward for having a kind heart. Joro stands there, stunned, but despite her new look, he is still wary of the terrifying woman on the inside. Now that the whole mess is cleared up, Joro's name is clean again. Even so, he still visits the library just like Pansy asked. That's when he decides to finally ask for his reward. Pansy sighs, pretending there's no way out of it, and stands up like she's about to reveal something dramatic. But instead, she messes with him, lifting her foot and offering it for him to lick like a queen granting a favor. Joro is clearly disappointed. All he wanted was a hug nestled between those soft, silky jelly mountains she's been hiding all along. But then, Pansy gets serious. She tells him she hides her real self for personal reasons, and she doesn't like how he only shows up at the library to escape everyone else after the incident. Not because he actually wants to see her, as he still hasn't figured out how to face Taio, Himawari, or Cosmos. She understands how Joro doesn't know how to start a conversation or apologize without making things worse. So she gives him simple advice, and that is to just talk to them while being honest. She believes that what's already awkward. What's a little more awkwardness going to hurt? Besides, having friends is better than being alone. Joro realizes she's speaking from experience. He quietly devours the cake she baked for him and walks away. She calls out to him, asking if he likes the cake, and Joro tells her that he now has another reason to come back, causing her to feel butterflies in her stomach. Later, Joro tries to apologize in class, but before he can get a word out, he's cut off by Asunaro from the journalism club, who's got dirt on everyone. With the upcoming flower festival, the event lets one guy dance with 3 girls, and legend has it that the guy ends up dating one of them. So she wants to know who Joro's 3 baddies are. Joro jokes that she could be one of them, and to his surprise, Asunaro blushes. She pushes for a real answer, but his attention shifts at Himawari's at her desk, freaking out over finals. It feels like a good chance to talk to her, but Asunaro jumps in, offering to help first. Not wanting to lose the moment, Joro jumps in too, but the sudden attention overwhelms Himawari, and she bolts. Joro chases her up the stairs. She trips. He catches up. Their usual silly banter kicks in. Himawari admits she's scared and embarrassed to talk to him again, while Joro just wants things to go back to how they used to be. Eventually, she apologizes, and when he accepts, Himawari gives him one of her signature tight hugs, and Joro definitely doesn't mind. Meanwhile, Cosmos is watching from a distance, too shy to approach. At lunch, Joro calls Taio to the rooftop and throws down a challenge, an exam showdown. If Taio aces every subject, he wins, and their friendship is officially over. But if he fails even one, Joro wins. Taio scoffs, calling it stupid, but just as he turns to leave, Himawari stops him. That's when Joro yells like a complete idiot that he just wants things to go back to normal, and Himawari joins in. The honesty hits home, and Taio finally relents. He apologizes to Joro and to Himawari, and they become friends again. Feeling confident, Joro heads back to the library and smugly tells Pansy that he made up with Taio and Himawari. He then asks if she'll help him study for finals, and she agrees, but only on one condition: he has to take her out on a date. Before he can respond, she gives him a warning that there's still one person he hasn't faced yet. Back in the hallway, Asunaro tries to press him for more festival gossip, but that's when Joro feels it, a dark, intense aura behind him. He realizes it's the one Pansy warned him about, Cosmos. He sprints after her and finds her curled up on a stairwell, looking absolutely defeated. She's been shadowing him all day, even practicing conversations with a mannequin to make up with him. Joro quickly tries to explain that he wants to be friends again, but Cosmos doesn't buy it. She says his words don't feel real, not the way she imagined them, which was how Joro used to fakely act all the time. In true Cosmos fashion, she had already built up a dramatic reconciliation in her head, so now he had no choice but to act it out. Eventually, she cracks a smile and her mood lightens. Later that day, the girls all show up at the library and they agree to study for finals together. While the initial plan is for Joro and Pansy to tutor the others, Cosmos, who's a genius, takes over and orders them to answer 5,000 math problems in order to get better. It pulls out Himawari's soul from her body, but Pansy saves her by telling Cosmos that she will be teaching Himawari Japanese. It leaves the boys with Cosmos, and when Joro looks at Taio, he realizes that he has accepted his fate as an idiot. After the long session, they walk home as a group. Joro glances at the 3 of them, Cosmos, Himawari, and Pansy, laughing and chatting like nothing ever happened. He can't help but feel proud of how far they've come. Then naturally, his monkey brain short-circuits. He realizes that just maybe the harem route is still possible. But even if that fantasy still lingers in the back of his mind, what really matters is that he's just glad everything turned out okay. After exams wrap up, Joro feels pretty good about himself, and Himawari greets him in the morning by smacking his back and hugging him like usual. With Himawari and Cosmos back by his side, life finally seems good again, until Asunaro pulls him aside after school and asks to talk. They meet on the rooftop, and Yoru's still riding high, believing that Asunaro will be added to his harem roster. However, he spots that cursed bench again, and the memories hit him like a truck, reminding him of all the confessions he had to face. Just like everyone else before her, Asunaro drops a confession, but to his shock, hers isn't about love, as she flat out calls him a womanizer. She accuses him of always chasing after pretty girls. And according to her, it all started at the last baseball game, where she caught him drooling at some beautiful girl with a degenerate expression. She brings proof in the form of photos of him with Pansy, Himawari, and Cosmos, all acting like they're his flings. She shows him an article she wrote about his being a creepy womanizer and plans to publish it at the upcoming flower festival. He assures her that he's only friends with the girls, lying about his true desire of being in the middle of a female train. She agrees to trust his word with a condition that she'll follow him everywhere, watching his every move. If he slips up even once, the article goes live. Later, while Joru is trying to dodge even more misunderstandings, Cosmos finds him and brings up the flower dance. He remembers that it's the tradition where one guy dances with 3 girls, and she finally agrees to join. She's turned it down every year, but this time she's in because Joru's the guy, as the legend states that one of the girls gets to marry him. Asunaro misreads the situation and writes another article, calling Joru the next ditty. Joru realizes if this keeps up, her articles are going to wreck everything. During lunch, he desperately begs the girls to back off for a while, just until things cool down. But they all refuse as they all want to be close to him, and they don't care what anyone or any article says. Then, Cosmos informs Jiru that, aside from herself and Himawari, Jiro needs to meet the 3rd girl for the dance, Kamata. Jiro realizes that during his meeting, Asunaro will be there, so he creates a plan. Then, when it's time to meet Kamata, Asunaro tails him, and Jiro feels confident, as he told Cosmos to treat him like trash on their meeting. However, Cosmos goes full samurai lady mode, making the whole thing even weirder, but it manages to throw Asunaro off guard. When they reach Kamata's classroom, she immediately hides from Jiro. Turns out, there's a rumor going around that he has a foot fetish and likes licking girls' shoes. Asunaro quickly writes that down, calling Jiro a man who likes to lick toes, but because of it, Asunaro starts doubting Jiro being a womanizer after seeing a girl scared of him. The next day, Kamata gets so scared that she drops out of the dance. Asunaro talks to him about it, hoping that she can be the replacement, but Cosmos texts him saying that she has already found the replacement. She introduces Joro to the replacement, which turns out to be Taio. Joro's about to ask why it isn't another girl, but Cosmos says she already got approval. With the group finalized, they plan to rehearse their dance, and they change into their gym clothes, with Pansy joining in their practice for their flower dance after school. Asunaro watches the whole thing, seeing the group having fun, trying out outfits, and hanging out like great friends, which slowly makes her question her mind about Jiro. A week before the dance, Jiro arrives at school feeling good about himself, but he suddenly gets cornered by the popular girls from class. They show him Asunaro's papers in hand that state that Jiro is a degenerate womanizer, and they are demanding answers. They believe every word, and when Cosmos rushes in trying to defend him, they accuse Cosmos of being one of Jiro's victims. Suddenly, Asunaro bursts in, guilt-ridden, and defends Jiro against the popular girls, whom they believe. She tells Jiro that the wrong version of the article got printed by accident, and she promises to collect every single copy to take full responsibility, but the damage is already done. Later, Taio and Himawari refuse to visit the library, and Cosmos tells Jiro they should stop being friends, as she doesn't want to drag him down. Pansy vouches for what she says, and they all agree that they'll practice the flower dance on their own. Afterward, Asunaro meets Jiro, who's completely drained and just wants to go home. Asunaro asks him about the dance rehearsal, and Jiro tells her that he won't be having any rehearsal for a while. Asunaro asks if all of this is her fault, and while Jiro tells her that's not, she feels guilty. As an apology, she offers to help him practice the flower dance, and he accepts. They dance on the rooftop, just the two of them, and they have fun together, but unbeknownst to them, Cosmos watches from a distance. It's been a week since the newspaper fiasco, and Jiro hasn't been spending time with anyone. Meanwhile, the popular girls group has been tailing him like watchdogs, especially their leader, Asaka. However, when Asunaro appears, the girls back off. Jiro realizes that throughout this entire week, the only person who's stayed by his side is Asunaro, and he feels genuinely grateful for that. Since it's the first day of the flower festival, Joru asks about the article Asunaro is planning to publish. She says she's still going through with it, but with a new conclusion, and she will release it on the second day of the festival. Before Joru can stress about that, Taio calls him and tells him the bad news that the PTA is upset that the flower dance tradition is being changed. It's always been one guy dancing with 3 girls, but now that Taio's involved, they're complaining to the headmaster, so Taio has to step down and find a replacement. Joro suddenly gets an idea and asks Asunaro if she wants to take his place, and she agrees without hesitation. Just as Joro's about to tell Cosmos the plan, she appears out of nowhere, saying that she already expected Asunaro to be the replacement. She asks Asunaro to come with her to the student council room, and Joro wants to follow, but Cosmos says this is between her and Asunaro. Still, Asunaro insists Joro come too, and Cosmos reluctantly agrees, saying that it won't go down well. Inside the student council room, Cosmos gets straight to the point and states that she rejects Asunaro as the 3rd flower and Joro's dance partner. She states that Asunaro should be focusing on writing an article that clears Joro's name. Asunaro refuses, and before Cosmos tells her why, she asks her one more time if she's okay with Joro being there, and Asunaro insists that she's fine with it. Before Cosmos says anything, Asunaro fires back, asking if Cosmos would be okay with an article about her as a dictator, and Cosmos, being unfazed, doesn't mind, as she has a bomb in her chamber. She drops it, telling Asunaro she should be ashamed, as Cosmos knows how Asunaro framed Joro and used him for her own gain. Cosmos states that Asunaro already knew that Joro is not a womanizer, but still Asunaro chose to trap him. Cosmos continues that during the time Asunaro was tailing Joro for her article, she kept disappearing during lunch, and Cosmos knows the truth that Asunaro was spreading nasty rumors about Joro to the first years, making him look like a degenerate feet licker, which pushes Kamada out from being his dance partner. Cosmos also reveals that the newspaper's printing schedule doesn't allow last-minute edits, so Cosmos checked the security log for the journalism room, and found that Asunaro had secretly swapped out her name on the shift schedule, proving that Asunaro was the person who spread the disgusting papers, framing Joro as the womanizer with 3 baby mamas. With her undeniable proof, Asunaro is left silent without any argument. However, Cosmos lays out Asunaro's real plan and reveals that Asunaro wanted to isolate Joro, push everyone else away from him, and become the only one left by his side. Cornered and exposed, Asunaro breaks down and confesses that she's been in love with Joro ever since that baseball game, where he saved her from a foul ball and looks cool. But unbeknownst to Asunaro, it turns out Joro was only trying to get a better look at Pansy's plots back then. Asunaro refuses to accept that Joro will be dancing with someone else, and strongly confesses that she wants him all to herself. However, Cosmos tells her that it is impossible, as the more people she drags down, the more unlikely she will get what she wants. Cosmos tells her that true love is difficult, as what she experienced before, when she tried to manipulate others, only hurt Joro even more. She tells her that being honest is the best way to go, and Asunaro confesses to Joro that she loves him, but her tears and pleading eyes don't work. Joro, clearly angry, shuts her down. He tells her he doesn't like her, not even a little bit. He's mad that she wasted everyone's time as Taio gave up baseball practice, and Cosmos and Himawari had other responsibilities, but they all worked hard for the dance, and Asunaro ruined it. Crushed, she apologizes to Cosmos and says she'll make things right. After she leaves, Cosmos teases Joro for being so harsh, but she knows that deep down, Joro is so kind that he acted harshly to Asunaro to help her move on more easily. Joro asks her about their upcoming dance, and Cosmos informs him that they already have someone to be the third flower. That evening, the flower dance goes off without a hitch. First up is Himawari, who dances bubbly and a little clumsily, but the crowd adores her. Next is Cosmos. She dances gracefully as ever, receiving a roar from the audience. In the middle of the dance, she leans in and whispers to Joro not to worry, and informs him that only she and Taio know the full story about Asunaro, so she won't receive any backlash. As a surprise present, she gives Joro a quick kiss and tells him she missed him during the time they were not meeting. Then comes the third flower. Silence falls over the crowd as the stunning girl steps onto the stage. No one recognizes her at first until the lights hit. It's Pansy wearing her real face, no glasses, just pure, striking beauty in all of her glory, causing Joro to fold to her looks. They dance in a perfect sync, and midway through, Pansy softly asks him why he always puts other people before himself. Joro doesn't quite understand, and she reveals that she knows he's been trying to help her make friends by bringing her into the study group, inviting everyone to lunch in the library, and setting up meetings with the others. Joro expresses how he is thankful to her after she helped him go through a tough patch and helped him make up with his friends, so he wanted to repay her. At the end of the dance, Pansy tells him that her thoughts are filled with him, and as the dance ends, the crowd goes wild. Backstage, they thank and congratulate each other for the success of the dance, and with her new friends, Pansy expresses how she wishes to spend more time with all of them in the future. With the chaos of the flower festival behind them, the school gives everyone a day off. Joro wakes up to the familiar sound of his overly cheerful, forever young mother acting like she's still in high school. To his surprise, Pansy is already in his house, chilling at the kitchen table and chatting with his mom like it's the most normal thing in the world. His mom invites Pansy to stay for breakfast, and while they eat, the daily horoscope plays on TV. It says that Aquarius will discover an unexpected side of someone close to them. Joro doesn't take it seriously as he's more concerned about how Pansy managed to get into his house in the first place. Pansy casually explains that during one of her regular stalking routines, she ran into his mom. They bonded over a shared love of the same book, and now they're somehow friends. Joro gives up trying to make sense of it and accepts his new reality. He heads out with the group to the pool. His mood instantly lifts because God's greatest creations have gathered in one place. Himawari pops up in her usual cute, petite self. Cosmos presents herself with her medium as premium plots, which Joro enjoys. Then Pansy, who looks nothing like her usual self, shines bright in the whole room with her gigantic plots, which is what all men die for. Everyone's having fun, playing volleyball, splashing around, soaking up the sun, all the while their plots are fan-servicing so much that the animators probably animated it with one hand. Later, Joro stands in line to buy drinks for the group. That's when he runs into a red-haired girl who seems vaguely familiar. It's his school's popular mean girl, Mayama, whom he doesn't recognize due to not wearing makeup. Shaw also doesn't recognize him and asks for his advice. She tells a story about her close friend who messed up with a guy and doesn't know how to apologize. She asks what kind of gift would be good for an apology, but she slips and reveals that the friend is her, who messed up with the guy. Jiro keeps it simple, saying that if her apology is sincere, it should be enough. She feels worried that she's in a worse place with the guy, but Jiro assures her that since they're at their lowest, their only way is up. Then she asks if changing her hair color would help, and Jiro gives his opinion, saying that if he were the guy, he would prefer plain black hair. After Jiro gets the drink, Mayama quietly hands him a drink as a sign of thanks for his honesty. After a short break, each girl wants some alone time with Jiro, but they argue as they all want different things. Pansy wants to relax in the hot spring, Himawari wants to ride the water slide, Cosmos demands the dolphin ride. It turns into a mini competition between the girls on who could make Jiro the happiest, and while Jiro's already exhausted, deep down, he knows he's the real winner there, as all three girls want time with him. First up, Jiro joins Himawari on the water slide. She clings tightly to him as they race down. Jiro is living the dream as he can feel her plots on him. However, when he gets down, his swim trunks fly off, and they get stuck on Himawari's head. Just before total disaster strikes, where Himawari sees his elephant truck, Taio appears and saves the day. Then Jiro joins Cosmos in the dolphin ride. Jiro braces for some intimate dolphin riding, but when the kids nearby start teasing them, calling them a couple, Cosmos panics and starts thinking about scenarios where they make mini Cosmos around. Her imagination goes haywire, and she accidentally shoves Jiro off to rid the pink dolphin alone. However, before he gets too far, Taio jumps on his back like a true homie to save him from looking like a lonely loser. Lastly, Jiro joins Pansy in the hot spring. The two of them sit quietly in the warm water, and while Jiro desperately tries not to peek, Pansy encourages him to stare at her plots. Pansy thanks Jiro for giving her a chance to have fun with friends, and says she's never had a day of fun like this. Jiro thanks her back, as if it weren't for her, he never would have reconnected with everyone. It's a peaceful, honest moment between them until Pansy casually drops a bomb, saying that she stalked him and saw him buying a book called On How to Apologize, and that he even went to a fortune teller for advice. Jiro panics, and Pansy smiles sweetly. She makes it worse by revealing that she accidentally found his secret stash of Mia Khalifa books under the table and accidentally peeked inside. Jiro is destroyed and his dignity crumbles into dust, but like a true homie, Taio shows up again and asks Pansy to give him a break. Pansy leaves them, and Jiro looks up to see Taio patting his shoulder with that same goofy smile, and Taio is a true homie. Afterward, the girls corner Jiro with a very important question, asking which one of them gave him the best of time. Jiro takes a deep breath, and with absolute confidence he points to Taio. While the girls are stunned, the two bros sprint off into the sunset, laughing like idiots, as they both know that bros will always come before hoes. The next day, Jiro's popular classmates suddenly gather around his desk and apologize for how they treated him before due to Asunaro's papers. Just then, Mayama walks in and sits beside him. She's completely changed, with her hair black, and her whole style is toned down. It surprises Jiro how much change she has made in a day, and that she looks exactly like his type. When the class is about to start, the teacher introduces a new student, Tsubaki, but she walks straight to Jiro, and to his shock, she declares her feelings for him, saying that, unlike other girls, she will love him unconditionally. A year ago, at the baseball tournament, Jiro bought all the fried food from Tsubaki's stall to cheer Taio up after he lost the game, knowing he liked fried skewers. Because of that, Tsubaki sold out and was deeply grateful. She told Jiro that seeing someone fight so hard for someone else made her want to be a better person. Now she's here right in front of him, triggering all of Jiro's usual suspects, Mayama, Asunaro, and even Himawari, who plans to rush off to warn Cosmos and Pansy about her. Himawari, being her usual bubbly self, quickly befriends Tsubaki. When Tsubaki explains what Jiro did for her, Himawari gets it. That's also why Tsubaki says she wants to help Jiro in any way she can, whether it's fending off creepy stalkers like Asunaro or helping with other things. All Jiro has to do is ask. But after all the cheesy BS he's been through, Jiro senses something off and suspects that Tsubaki has a hidden motive. He doesn't want to be tricked again. Still, Tsubaki goes all in, helping him clean the classroom and clinging to his arm when they walk, just because of a banana peel on the floor. When her face gets close to him, Jiro almost folds but quickly pulls away from her. She offers him her homemade bento, and Jiro now faces a personal trial, whether to resist the charm or fall again. Trying to test her intentions, he tells her she can ask for anything he alone can give her, and instead of asking him for anything, she asks him to let her serve him. And just like that, Jiro folds like a lawn chair. Later at lunch, he brings Tsubaki to the library where she meets Cosmos and Pansy. As promised, Jiro accepts Tsubaki's bento, but Cosmos also brought a massive bento, hoping to share it with Jiro. Jiro knows that refusing it would hurt her feelings, so he accepts one portion from her too. While Cosmos feels happy, Pansy remarks that it was luck that Jiro found a good excuse. As they snack on cookies afterward, Cosmos notices that Himawari weirdly brought her tennis racket in the library. Himawari explains that she's training for an upcoming tournament, so she wants to be ready anytime and train anywhere. Taio also chimes in and says this time he'll win his baseball tournament. Then, Tsubaki turns to Jiro and asks if he has something he's passionate about. Jiro awkwardly says he doesn't, and Tsubaki simply encourages him to find it. When everyone else leaves, Pansy asks Jiro to stay behind. Jiro warns her not to act suspiciously around Tsubaki or think badly about her, but Pansy changes the subject. She wants to talk about how Jiro acted with Cosmos. After accepting Tsubaki's bento, he also accepted Cosmos's, but she knows that all Jiro wanted is not to upset her out of kindness. However, Pansy believes it wasn't kindness and it was avoidance. Jiro doesn't fully understand what she means. So, instead of explaining, Pansy lends him her favorite book. She asks him to read it and share his thoughts. Jiro admits he's a slow reader and doesn't know when he'll finish, but Pansy says that's fine. Later, after school, Jiro is out buying something for his annual yearly routine. Suddenly, Himawari appears out of nowhere, jumping on him like always, which ends with Jiro's face kissing the ground while his bag is wide open. Himawari guesses it's close to her birthday and assumes Jiro is buying her a gift, but he denies it. Later, he panics as he realizes that Pansy's book is missing. Jiro realizes he left his bag open, and when Himawari tackled him, the book probably fell out. At the train station, Jiro searches desperately for the book. That's when two girls with pink and blue hair from another school approach and ask what's wrong. He explains he lost a book and they kindly help him look. After a long while, they find it, but it's dirty, damaged, and ruined. The pink-haired girl tells him the book is rare and expensive. When she mentions the price, Jiro nearly collapses. She gives him the name of a bookstore where he might be able to buy a replacement, and feeling guilty, Jiro becomes obsessed with earning money. During lunch, his eyes are glued to a tabloid for part-time jobs and everyone is worried that he's ignoring them. Eventually, Himawari gets the tabloid in Jiro's hand and asks what is happening. Jiro says he needs money but doesn't explain why. That's when Tsubaki offers a solution and informs him that her family's store is opening a new branch in town and they need help. When she tells him that the pay is good, Jiro immediately drops to his knees and thanks her. After lunch, when everyone else has left, Jiro gathers his courage. He brings Pansy to the stairwell and shows her the ruined book. He apologizes and says he'll repay her. Pansy brushes it off, saying that it's fine. He asks her if he can do anything for her, and she tells him not to work the part-time job as to work part-time with Tsubaki also means less time with Pansy. She tells him that she already finished the book, but Jiro insists that he'll return it, as he still wants to finish reading it, which makes Pansy happy to see him interested in her interests. Then, Jiro starts his first day at Tsubaki's family-owned fried skewers restaurant. It's been a week since Jiro started working part-time at Tsubaki's place. He's already gotten the hang of the job that even the seniors praise him, but somehow, compared to his talented friends like Himawari or Taio, he still feels like a side character in his own story. The next morning, Jiro is reading Pansy's old book, thinking he'll finally have a peaceful start to his day. However, the gods play a joke on him, as Himawari bursts in and slaps his crusty back just like usual. Jiro assumes she's training for her tournament, but she claims it's a free day. He instantly knows she's lying as her eyes always shift when she lies. He warns her not to slack off on practice, but she gets curious about the book in his hands. He says that it's nothing special, but his fidgeting fingers give him away. Himawari asks why he doesn't just buy a new one since it's already ruined, but he quickly changes the subject, saying that he'll buy her something special for her upcoming birthday, which makes her not care about the book. Later at lunch, everyone gathers in the library as usual, but with Jiro busy at his part-time job, tension is lingering between Jiro and Pansy, who is not happy that Jiro is not spending time with her. Without Himawari being there, no one can break the silence. Even when Taio and Cosmos try to talk to Pansy, she only gives curt replies. Tsubaki calms Pansy down, assuring her that when he manages to achieve his goal, Jiro will be working fewer hours, and then he can spend more time with Pansy, but Pansy stays distant. That afternoon, while Jiro is working, Mayama pops up by herself, saying that she's not there for Jiro, and quickly makes an excuse, saying that she's there with her friends who are rooting for her to win Jiro over. During their time, Mayama gets too shy and ends up saying nothing. As they leave, she mutters that she might come again. Then, trying to prove himself, Jiro confidently takes 2 full-hand customer orders. Tsubaki offers to help, but he insists he's fine. However, she slips and spills beer on a customer's head. The customer is furious at him, calling him a useless limp, but Tsubaki steps in, apologizes, and promises the restaurant will cover the laundry. Seeing him shaken by the incident, Tsubaki tells Jiro to call it a day. That night, Pansy waits for Jiro on his way home. She says she wants to talk to the real him. Exhausted, Jiro brushes her off and tells her to go home, but she refuses. She asks about his job, which irritates him even more. He vents about the customer, the food, and the drinks. Pansy listens and tells him the real problem is why he started working in the first place. She says he's doing it to save face, not because he truly feels sorry about the book. She tells him that he's always comparing himself to Taio the baseball ace, Himawari the tennis star, Cosmos the student council president, and Tsubaki the entrepreneur. It makes him want to feel useful, to feel important, but she doesn't like that he covered it up with the excuse of replacing her book. Feeling exposed, Joro snaps. He furiously confesses that he's never had anything to be proud of, and Pansy reminds him that she loves him just as he is, and that being a good person is enough. But it's not what he wants to hear, and he tells her to leave him. When she does what he asks, Joro feels guilty seeing her walk away, realizing that he's an arrogant fool. The next day at lunch, Himawari returns, brightening the group again with her presence. But then she brings up the book, and Joro brushes it off, saying he hasn't finished it yet. She expresses how, as his friend, she might buy him a new one, and she walks out, telling him not to worry about it. Afterward, Taio tries to cheer him up, saying that if you want to protect something important, it's better to swing freely without worrying about the pride of getting striked out. Joro doesn't fully get the baseball metaphor, but he appreciates the message. At work, Tsubaki tells Joro to go home early. She can see how down he is, so much that it could make the food feel bad. She urges him to take the night to reflect and come back tomorrow as his usual fun self. On the way home, Joro visits a nearby playground, and there he meets a guy in the same uniform as the girls who visited the restaurant earlier. The stranger says it must be fate meeting someone with such a sad face, and he offers to listen. Joro opens up and says that he argued with someone important and doesn't know how to apologize as his emotions and ego are in the way. The guy gives him simple advice. If you want to protect something precious, don't worry about getting hurt. Think about what happens if they get hurt. Suddenly, Joro understands what Taio meant, and it lifts up his spirit. They bond over the shirt conversation, and the guy introduces himself as Hazuki. The next day, Joro brings Pansy to the staircase and sincerely apologizes. He admits she was right about how he wanted to replace the book for his own ego, and not for her. So he promises to buy her the book for her, and not for himself. After hearing that, she smiles and encourages him to work harder. Then, Joro works hard, and unlike before, he does it with a full heart, and finally earns his first paycheck. Tsubaki is proud of him, and with his money in hand, Joro heads to the bookstore that the pink-haired girl recommended. However, he's disappointed when he finds out someone has already bought the book. Just as he's feeling defeated, he gets a message from Himawari saying she has something important. On his way home, he finds Himawari already waiting. He's confused, asking if she shouldn't be practicing for her tennis tournament. But then she pulls out the book, saying that everything is okay since he got his book back. Joro's first reaction is anger, as he knows it was expensive, and she'd been saving for a new racket. He scolds her for wasting her time and money on him, instead of focusing on her future and getting herself a new racket. But all Himawari wanted was to help her childhood friend. The two of them finally talk openly. Joro realizes he was too harsh, and they make up. The next day, with her friend's support, Himawari gets ready to compete in the tournament with her new tennis racket, one that Joro bought for her. She asks Joro if he has a crush on someone, and while he doesn't, Himawari tells him that she does and gives her a kiss on the cheek in front of everyone. She then competes in the tournament, and Himawari wins her competition. The group celebrates at Tsubaki's place. There, Pansy asks Joro about the book and whether he finished it. He remembers finding a bookmark inside with a message, asking him if he would help her if she were in trouble. Joro realizes that's the question Pansy has been waiting for him to answer, and he tells her that he would, which pleases her. Later, after everything he went through, Tsubaki reminds Joro that, unlike what he thought he was, Joro is not just a side character. She expresses how he's the one who brings everyone together, as everyone around him loves him, and that makes him just as important as anyone else. Joro accepts her assessment and now sees himself as the anime main character in his own story. With everything back to normal, Joro breathes a sigh of relief. Suddenly, someone yanks him into the science room. He instantly recognizes the girl, Kamata, as the idiot who thought that he liked toes. But lost in her delusions, she introduces herself as Tampopo-chan, the baseball team's manager. She asks him to sit with her, and to his shock, it's the cursed bench that's haunted him for so long. Joro already knows what's coming, a confession, but instead of the usual, she asks for something far worse. She wants him to help her make Taio and Pansy a couple. She explains how it all began during last year's baseball tournament. Watching from third base, she felt inspired by the team's spirit, despite their loss. That day, she decided to become the beloved, angelic team manager and gain popularity through that image. After the game, she left through the south gate and spotted Taio and Pansy together. Since then, she's believed they're a perfect match, not knowing that Pansy holds no feelings for Taio. Knowing Joro is close to Pansy and Taio, she wants Joro to make it happen. Tampopo argues that Taio, a player who pours his heart into everything, would thrive even better with a girlfriend cheering him on, and if the match succeeds, she hopes to rise to fame as the manager who made it happen. However, Tampopo tries to bribe him with a photo of herself in a bunny outfit and promises more if the plan works. Being a true cultured degenerate, Joro folds to her offer and accepts. Suddenly, from the other side of the room, Asunaro appears like Sherlock Holmes. She explains that she climbed in through the window after seeing Joro dragged away and is now intrigued by Tampopo's scheme. She offers to help, promising to publish a feature on Tampopo as an idol in the school paper if it succeeds. The girls see the potential where Tampopo gets the fame, and Asunaro gets Joro if Pansy dates Taio. At lunch, while the group enjoys Tsubaki's fried food, Jiro can't shake Tampopo's request and glances at Taio, wondering if he still have feelings for Pansy. Meanwhile, Cosmos seems off. She's distracted, troubled, watching the others chat and laugh. Jiro hears her sigh, and just as he's about to ask what's wrong, Asunaro pops up, surprising Cosmos. Jiro realizes that the two still have tension after what happened in the past, but Asunaro asks her to bury their beef, as she has more important things. She pulls Jiro aside and tells him the task he asked for is done. As a reward, she clings to his arm and whispers that she hasn't given up on his love yet. After school, Tampopo texts him the next steps in their plan. Just then, Mayama appears to confront Jiro and awkwardly tries to ask him on a date. But before she does so, she gets flustered and storms off without saying anything meaningful. Later, Jiro meets with Tampopo and Asunaro. Still deep in her fantasy, Tampopo insists Jiro hug Pansy to provoke Taio's jealousy, guiding him through the plan with a walkie-talkie like it's some low-budget spy movie. Exhausted by the nonsense, Jiro still plays along and approaches Pansy while looking horrible. Instantly, she calls him out, saying he looks like a pathetic bottom feeder. Jiro tries to act normal, but Pansy notices his earbuds and grows suspicious. Before she can press him, Cosmos, Himawari, and Tsubaki arrive, chatting about after-school plans. Nearby, some boys admire the group of girls, joking that their school is blessed with baddies. Suddenly, the boys start talking about Tampopo, and to her shock, they butcher her name, calling her Tampon Po, which wounds her pride and blows her plan. Afterwards, she quickly calms down after a little praise from Jiro. He promises to help with something else, which is for him to do a fake confession to Pansy to spark Taio's jealousy. The next day, during lunch in the garden, everyone is in place. Jiro asks what happens if Pansy actually accepts his confession, and Tampopo assures him she won't, but that's when Jiro realizes the truth. He drops the act and confronts Tampopo. He reveals that he never intended to confess or to help her. It angers her to hear this, but he confronts her about her lies. Tampopo tries to defend herself, saying that she didn't lie about anything, but Jiro exposes the holes in her story. He reveals how, during last year's baseball tournament, no supporters from their school were stationed at third base, and everyone was at first base. That alone proves she wasn't there for their team. Cornered, Tampopo claims she didn't support them back then, but she does now, and she just wants to help Taio. Suddenly, Asunaro steps in with evidence and states that Tampopo didn't even choose the school after she failed to get into her first choice. More than that, Jiro reveals Tampopo's real interest isn't Taio, but it's Pansy, who went to the same school as Tampopo before. Just then, Pansy finally enters, and Jiro asks her if she looked different back then. Pansy confirms that she didn't hide her face like she does now. Pansy brings up the flower dance, and Tampopo admits that she hadn't recognized Pansy at first. Tampopo still believes that Pansy and Taio are meant to be, but Pansy firmly denies it and states that the man she loves is the man standing right next to her, Jiro. Shocked, Tampopo can't believe Pansy is in love with Jiro, the shoe-licking degenerate. Jiro asks why she's doing all of this, but before she gets to answer, she runs away without answering. Pansy tells Jiro not to be angry at Tampopo, who just wanted to help. Pansy explains how, due to her real looks, people pushed her to get a boyfriend in the past, and now Tampopo thought she was doing the right thing by helping Pansy get Taio, not knowing who she really likes. With everything out in the open, Pansy thanks Jiro and teases him. Asunaro pulls Jiro away, telling Pansy that Jiro is hers and neither of them is willing to back off as they both want the same man. Just then, Pansy reveals that she has the Tampopo bunny photo that she took from Jiro's pocket, and she swaps it with a picture of herself, which Jiro doesn't mind having. Meanwhile, Cosmos, the student council president, is arguing with the headmaster about the school library and begs him not to close it. The very next morning, the melon-loving fool Jiro is already lost in thought over Pansy's photo, until the real Pansy suddenly walks in. She hugs him seductively, teasing about doing hot cardio with her, but only to reveal that she wants to dance with him. That's when Jiro notices the earbuds and realizes that it's Tampopo's doing. To lure out the little gremlin, Jiro casually says he needs an angel for good luck. Right on cue, Tampopo appears, and Jiro unleashes his fury, causing her to run away. Just then, Cosmos bursts in, visibly troubled, and she explains that the school has decided to shut down the library, which sends fear into Pansy's heart. She explains that they need to increase their visitor count tenfold. It sounds impossible, but Himawari steps up, promising to bring her tennis team. Taio agrees to rally his baseball team, and Tsubaki offers to invite her regulars from the family restaurant. It raises their moral hearing, but when everyone looks to Jiro, who has no friends and zero contributions, they realize he's useless. Everyone tells him to just go home, drink some tea, and try thinking of a good idea. On the way, Fate decides to give him a break as he runs into Hazuki. Jiro explains the library situation, and Hazuki agrees to help, saying his school faced something similar last year and he promises to bring some friends along. The next morning, Jiro tells Cosmos about Hazuki's offer, and she's okay with getting outside help, despite Hazuki being from the school that defeated them in baseball. When Hazuki shows up, he brings two girls, the pink-haired Cherry and the blue-haired Tsukimi, and Jiro recognizes them as the same girls who once helped Jiro find Pansy's book. As Jiro brings them to the library, the group feels excited. but Pansy is in shock as she recognizes them. Hazuki also recognizes her immediately, and the girls seem shocked too. Joro feels a weird tension in the air, but stays quiet. Hazuki starts charming the room with his sunny personality, and everyone flocks to him due to his charm. Joro watches closely and realizes Hazuki is clearly interested in Pansy, but Pansy sticks close to Joro instead. Cosmos, sensing some history between them, directly asks Hazuki about his connection to Pansy, and he explains they all went to the same school before. Cherry and Tsukimi, trying to play matchmaker, suggest that Hazuki and Pansy tour the library together. Joro sees through the setup and tries to intervene, but to his surprise, Hazuki declines the offer and invites Joro instead. While they explore the library, Joro can't help but notice how absurdly perfect Hazuki is. Just then, Tsukimi appears out of nowhere and bluntly asks if he likes Pansy. Caught off guard, he awkwardly assures her that he doesn't, and Tsukimi just walks off, which confuses Joro. At the end of the day, just as people are getting ready to leave, Cherry and Tsukimi try to invite Joro and the others out, so they can leave Hazuki and Pansy alone. Joro realizes that Pansy is uncomfortable, so he telepathically asks Asunaro for help. Asunaro picks up on his intent and swoops in, whisking Pansy away under the excuse of needing help with her article. With that, Hazuki misses his chance. The rest of them head out with Cherry and Tsukimi, who drop a bomb and reveal that they both like Hazuki. But knowing that he likes Pansy, they've decided to help him instead, as they're willing to sacrifice their feelings for the sake of their friendship, and now ask Joro and the others to help them achieve their goal. Joro is stunned, as he feels that something is not right. Seeing how they're too selfless, something is off. Himawari breaks the silence, asking them about Pansy's feelings. Tsukimi replies that it's already handled and reminds Joro of his earlier response when she asked if he liked Pansy, and he said no. In their eyes, it clears the path for Hazuki to make his move. Joro is torn, as technically nothing they've said is wrong, but it all feels off. When Tsukimi presses again, Joro firmly says no, he can't help them. Himawari and Cosmos back him up, saying they want to respect Pansy's feelings. Rejected, Cherry and Tsukimi accept their rejection gracefully before quietly leaving. The remaining trio lingers in silence, but eventually Himawari and Cosmos tell Joro to head home first, as they want to discuss something first. The next day, Taio notices something's bothering Joro and asks him if it's about the library, but Joro says it's something deeper. To clear his head, he goes to the source, Pansy. He asks her directly about her relationship with Hazuki and the girls. Pansy looks haunted, but opens up about her past. She reveals that Hazuki is the demon in her life, and Joro is confused. As to him, Hazuki seems like a genuinely good guy. Pansy agrees that he is and tells him how, in the past when others had twisted thoughts about her, Hazuki was the only one who truly understood her. However, Pansy could never fall in love with him because of one thing. Hazuki doesn't understand the other side of other people's feelings, which harms other people. With his charms and kindness, everything always works out for him, but it often costs someone else their peace. The girls, while liking Hazuki to help him get closer to Pansy, but he doesn't realize that the girls are hurting deep down because of it. All the while, he gets what he wants. That's not something Pansy ever wanted to be a part of. Even then, Hazuki kept protecting her, resisting his own feelings. To clear everything up, Joro asks Pansy if she wants to be with Hazuki, and Pansy says plainly that she doesn't want to be with him. After hearing that, Joro declares that he will do something to help her, which makes her happy, and Pansy tells him that she will also do her best. 1 week after the library reopens, students crowd the library, giving it life, thanks to Hazuki and his friends. However, Joro notices how Pansy is uncomfortable with Hazuki and the girls egging Hazuki on to get closer to her. While Joro is stuck, Taio notices it, so steps in and casually asks Pansy where to shelve some books. She gladly takes the excuse and walks away, silently thanking Taio. Still desperate, Joro turns to the last person he wants to ask, Tampopo, and she explodes when she hears that Hazuki is there, helping out Pansy and her library. With Asunaro's help, Joro finds out that Tampopo once had a crush on Hazuki, and she tried everything to get his attention, even buying tons of hair clips just like Pansy's, but nothing worked. Her last-ditch effort was to find a boyfriend for Pansy, just to remove her from the equation, but she still failed. Now that Hazuki is back, Tampopo demands that Joro step up and become Pansy's boyfriend already, so Hazuki can be hers. Later that day, while everyone's cleaning the library, Joro gathers his courage and turns to Hazuki. He asks him what he would feel if Pansy finds herself a boyfriend, and while he admits that he would be sad, he would congratulate her. Hearing that, Joro turns to Pansy and wants to tell her something, but she cuts him off. And to everyone's shock, she tells everyone that she and Taio have decided that if Taio wins the baseball tournament, they will start dating. The room freezes and both Hazuki and Joro are in shock, but Hazuki tries to stay composed and congratulates her. Then, Pansy turns to Joro and coldly orders him to stay away from the library for a while, stating that she has had enough of loving someone who wouldn't even pay attention to her, and calls Joro a burden who didn't even help the library. Cosmos and Himawari move to defend him, but Pansy silences them. After school, Joro meets up with Taio. At first, Taio plays dumb, but then admits to the deal. He's been pretending this whole time and asks that while he dates Pansy as his best friend, Joro has to do his part, just like how Taio did his. Nearby, Tsubaki eavesdrops on them. For the whole summer, Joro spends his time working at Tsubaki's restaurant, while avoiding the library as Pansy ordered him to. Cosmos, Himawari, Asunaro, and even Mayama and her gang come by to visit. Then, Cosmos happily informs them that the library has officially been declared safe from being closed. Asunaro credits Joro, but he insists it's because of Hasuki. Himawari tries to tell him that Pansy would be sad without him, but Joro shuts her down, saying that Pansy already has someone in Taio, which means that that's the end of it. Later, in the locker room, Tsubaki walks in and confronts him. While he tries to self-deprecate, Tsubaki tells him that only he can protect Pansy from Hasuki and his friends. Joro believes that Taio is enough, but Tsubaki assures him that just because Pansy is dating someone, it does not mean Hasuki will stop. She asks him to remember what Taio told him, and he realizes that Taio is buying him time. And finally, it clicks. Joro realizes that Pansy told him to stay away for a while, and not forever. He now sees that Taio and Pansy have been protecting him. Without hesitation, he decides to help Pansy no matter what. After work, Mayama catches him outside. In her usual tsundere way, she tells Joro that he has been useless and asks him to talk to her if anything is bugging him. Joro simply tells her that things are going badly, and she simply tells him to do what he always does, which is being himself. It opens his eyes and he delivers a cunning grin, one that resembles the real him and one that Mayama loves. She hands him a chocolate milk and Joro starts scheming with full resolve. The next day after school, Joro calls Taio for a private talk. He apologizes to Taio and tells him that he won't be there to cheer for him in the finals as he has something more important. Taio smiles, realizing that Joro knows what needs to be done. With a baseball analogy, he draws himself up as the batter, and Joro as the man on third, and asks Joro what they should do. Joro tells him that they go for the home run, and they both smile, knowing that they are aiming for the win. The next day, everyone gathers in the library. Suki, Cherry, and Tsukimi are still around, and Cosmos thanks them for their help. Pansy tries to slip away, still awkward around Hasuki, but he stops her. He can't hold it in anymore and tells Pansy that he likes her and wants to date her. Since Taio hasn't won the tournament, Hasuki still sees a chance for him. Cosmos tries to intervene, but Cherry supports Hasuki. Himawari jumps in for Pansy, but Tsukimi insists Hasuki's feelings matter too, and the room spirals into chaos. Suddenly, Joro walks in, smug as ever. Pansy reminds him about not coming to the library, and he tells her that he has not been going there for a while, just like she asked. Like a true Chad, Joro preaches about women's privilege and tells Pansy that as a woman, she gets to use him all she wants, as she's just a lonely girl who wants to be loved. Hasuki tries to refocus the attention, but Joro cuts in and declares a challenge against Hasuki. Cherry and Tsukimi protest against him, telling him to shut up, but Pansy stops them and asks Joro to continue. Knowing that Hasuki won't back down, Joro challenges him that whoever loses will never approach Pansy again. Hasuki hesitates, but Joro presses him, challenging his pride. Finally, Hasuki agrees, and from this point on, they're rivals. Joro sets the rules. The baseball game is the deadline. All 6 girls receive a hair clip and vote for the guy they think suits Pansy best. And if the vote is tied, the baseball tournament will decide the winner. If Joro's school wins, he gets a point. If Hasuki's school wins, the point goes to him. Cherry and Tsukimi argue it's unfair, as most of the girls are Joro's friends, but Joro doesn't care, as it was what he planned all along, knowing that he's at an advantage. However, the girls flip the script. Just as Joro thinks he's won the numbers game, Cosmos steps up and declares that she's using her women's privilege as well. Cosmos, Himawari, and Asunaro, all friends of Joro, vote for Hasuki to date Pansy, which shocks Joro after seeing this. Then Cosmos, Himawari, and Asunaro all declare that they all love Joro, and all are willing to let Hasuki date Pansy if it means that they get a chance to win Joro over. And just like that, the game gets a whole lot more interesting. Some nights later, while everyone else sleeps, Taio lies awake in the city, wrestling with his thoughts. He knows he's not the main character of this story, but he still wants to be seen. From years ago, Taio was always talented in baseball, but while the coach applauded him, his teammates looked on with resentment. Taio, too shy to reach out, found himself isolated without friends. The only one who approached him was the catcher, Shiba, kind and friendly, even liking the same pro player as Taio, just like the one on his keychain. But later that day, Taio's keychain went missing. Shiba offered to help him find it, and Taio was grateful. But in the bathroom, Taio overheard some teammates laughing behind the door. He hid and listened, only to hear Shiba among them, as Shiba had taken the keychain out of jealousy over the coach's attention. Taio was furious, but more than that, he was scared, afraid of being alone again. So he swallowed his anger and wore a smile. From then on, he buried his real self beneath the mask of a cheerful friend, one that he wore till now. Meanwhile, Joro had a dream about his first time meeting with Pansy. It was back when he was about to give all the fried food he could get to cheer up Taio, his best friend, after his loss. Pansy came with her true face, the beautiful, eye-catching face with no glasses. Joro was head over heels when Pansy approaches him that he can't even hold his stupid donkey face when he sees Pansy's hermelons in front of him. There, Pansy asked him to have a talk. Joro didn't want to waste that opportunity, but knowing that he had to meet Taio, he stayed to his status quo. Joro has to reject Pansy's request. Pansy, who understands his decision, decides that she will meet Joro on another day. Joro was about to ask her name, but Pansy only said that she would find him anyway. Just then the alarm is on, and Joro gets up from his dream with a tired face. It is time for the baseball final tournament, and on this day he will get the results whether he can get Pansy or not. Last time Joro challenged Hasuki to get her, by taking points of support from the girls. He thinks he can win this game easily because he gets most of the girls on his side, but the fortune goddess mocks him by making the 3 girls confess to him, making the situation stickier than the morning after a Diddy party. And then, the girls there make their own rules too. Cherry wants to make her own rules for the girls because she noticed that Joro wants to play dirty, which he does. So because the point is based on the hair clips from each girl, and there are 6 of them, Cherry said that each of them has to give one rule. Cherry wants each hair clip to represent only one girl. Can't be changed. Tsukimi, the other girl from Hasuki's side, wants that if the girls have already given their hair clip, they can't take it back. Himawari said that if this challenge is over, it can't be extended anymore. Asunaro said that if the girls want to give their hair clip, it must be in front of both Joro and Hasuki. Cosmos said that the point that is already given cannot be taken back and must be given directly. Joro has already lost her dignity at this point. Seems like they all want to ruin his life. Even Pansy adds her rules that she wants the one who lost to get punished. Hasuki, with his extra positive vibes, agrees to these rules with pride, while Joro already lost his spirit of life altogether. Now that it is already the due date, Joro didn't know if he could win this or not. Himawari in the morning already called him and she asked to go to the stadium together. There, the girls already have their own plan for Joro, and stupidly they talk about it while Himawari is on the phone with Joro, as if he can't hear any of that. Himawari said that Joro must get ready and that she will pick him up. Joro, who hears their talks, immediately fakes his happiness and just agrees with her and gets changed into uniform. At the stadium, Joro hides from the girls at the back of one of the stalls to avoid receiving the hair clips. He makes it his mission to change the other girl's mind, but because the stall owner already helped Joro, he is assigned to sell the stall owner's food along with his younger sister. Meanwhile, Taio arrives at the stadium, and he remembers the time he met with Joro. There, Joro asks him what club he has chosen, and proudly, he says he chose baseball. There, Himawari smacks Joro's back, but in that moment Joro shows his true face, and he immediately changes to his usual awkward smile. Taio, who sees it, realizes that they both are the same as people who are hiding their own true feelings. So Taio asks Joro to be his friend ever since. Now because of that mask, Taio has a lot of friends who support him, but they are all not the one that Taio want to see, as he is looking for Joro and the others. Then suddenly Joro came and gave him a bottle of water as his support, but he immediately goes away. Taio tried to talk to him, but he turns his attention to Shiba, his old teammate. But that didn't matter, as it is time for the tournament. Meanwhile, Joro has just finished his shift selling food, and heads off to find Pansy. He finds her among the crowd and quietly asks her if she'll give him her hair clip. But instead of answering, Pansy asks him what he really thinks of her. Joro freezes, as he can't give her an answer, and all he manages is an apology. Pansy smiles sadly and tells him he's already out of time. To Joro's annoyance, Hasuki is there. Joro bolts and hides behind a wall, peeking at Pansy as Hasuki walks up to her and tries to convince her to give him her hair clip. With time running out and still needing the other girls to choose his side, he heads off. Lost in thought, Joro bumps into a little girl looking for her sister. He's fed up with distractions like this, but still helps her. He thinks maybe this will earn him some points. But Cherry, who's seen everything, quickly shuts that down. She still supports Hasuki and wants him with Pansy. Joro tries to change her mind, saying Pansy won't be happy with Hasuki and that they will never be a couple. After hearing that Cherry hands over her hairpin, but to Joro's surprise, she reveals that she refuses to budge and will continue to support Hasuki to get Pansy. Instead, she offers to call Hasuki to settle it right now. Panicking, Joro grabs Cherry's plot cup to stop her. Cherry slaps him so hard he crashes into a trash can full of empty cans, and while she's forces to clean up the mess, Joro takes off again to avoid her. From afar he hears the crowd cheering and knows that Taio just scores again. Joro wants to go watch but isn't sure he should. Then a familiar voice asks what's bugging him. Without thinking, Joro answers, but then he pauses when he realizes that it's Hasuki. Joro jumps while Hasuki just smiles and casually asks if he got Pansy's hair clip. Joro tells him it's none of his business. Hasuki shrugs and says that's fine, because if Joro does get Pansy's hair clip, he only has 1 point, while he already has 3, Cosmos, Himawari, and Asunaro. He's ready to start and walks off to call the others. Joro's heart sinks in that instance, but Hasuki suddenly loses cell signal and walks off to find better reception. Joro runs away to escape the voting, and right then, Cosmos calls Joro. She says there's an emergency and needs help using her fake samurai voice, which is obviously a lie. Joro plays along and tells her to meet somewhere, knowing he will never meet her. Before he can move, another stupid girl shows up, saying she's lost her house key, forcing Joro to help her. Luckily, Mayama and her gang show up to help. Meanwhile, Taio's giving it his all on the field. He listens for Joro's usual chaotic cheering, but knows his friend has his own battle to fight today, so he has to face it on his own. His teammate Shiba fails to get a point and walks away disappointed. And when Taio cheers him up, Shiba bruises past him because of their old beef. Back to Joro, the girl finds her key thanks to Mayama. Joro thanks her, and Mayama, being her usual tsundere self, acts smug and cute. She asks for a reward, and Joro agrees. She heads back to the stands with her friends. Joro wonders if Tsukimi will change her mind after seeing that, but she flat out rejects him. She says she'll always be on Hasuki's side, and since she's already found Hasuki, she calls him over. Before Joro can react, Himawari and Asunaro grab his arms and sandwich him between them. Hasuki arrives, and with Joro pinned, the final vote is about to begin. But before it does, Hasuki asks for a word. Meanwhile, Taio's still deep in the game, but his mind drifts to the past. He remembers how he was able to have fun again, due to his friendship with Joro. While on the other hand, he overheard Shiba badmouthing him again, calling him a bootlicker. But then he hears Joro's voice. Joro stood up for him, calling out Shiba in front of everyone. Taio is stunned, as he used to think Joro was like him, wearing a mask to fit in. But now, he sees it clearly that Joro wears his mask to protect the people he cares about. Back with Joro, he starts thinking that maybe, if Hasuki drags him off now, he can find a way to escape. But Hasuki turns and says he wants to change the punishment. Before, the loser would just stop talking to Pansy, but now he wants that the loser can't talk to any of the girls ever again. That's when Hasuki's mask slips. The nice guy act, and the main character aura, all fake. He says he wants to erase Joro from everyone's lives. However, like the Chad he is, Joro doesn't flinch. He accepts and says that his bond with the others is stronger than Hasuki thinks. Back at the stadium, Taio doesn't even notice he's out of drinks. He's thinking back on everything, about Joro and the year they've all shared. He still doesn't know how to face him, but he's happy to be part of this group with Joro, Himawari, and that one other girl he used to love. He remembers walking home once with that sweet, innocent girl he liked. She talked about seeing Joro and Himawari again, then suddenly stopped and asked to talk. She sat on a white bench, patted the seat beside her, and gently said she had feelings for Joro. That was Taio's first real loss to Joro. Back in the present, it's Shiba's turn to play. Taio doesn't expect much, but Shiba surprises him with a trick play and scores. During the break, Tempopo, the team manager, makes her move. She gives Taio her hat, saying he should wear it because it's from his biggest fan, and that little push gives Taio the energy to keep going. Before the next round, Taio approaches Shiba and compliments his move. Just then, Shiba hands him something, the old keychain that he stole. Shiba confesses he acted like a jerk because he was jealous of Taio and all the attention for him. Taio just smiles. He says Shiba doesn't need to apologize, because honestly, Taio felt the same towards another man who he also wanted to beat Joro too. But unlike him, that man never chases praise, and he just wants to be there for his friends. That's what Taio tells Shiba and the whole team. Meanwhile, behind the stadium, everyone gathers, and Joro asks Pansy to give her hair clip last, while watching everything that is about to unfold. Then, it's time for Cherry and Tsukimi to give up their hair clips, but to their confusion, Cosmos and Himawari stop them. Cosmos tells them to stop lying, and to stop blaming Pansy for the pain they feel over Hasuki, as it's not fair. They're just hurting and using her as a scapegoat. She says she and Himawari were the same. They both liked the same guy, and that guy told them to help him get closer to Pansy, and they accepted his painful request so they wouldn't be hated by him. So they lied to themselves back then. But now, it's time to stop. Cherry and Tsukimi break down. They admit it that they blame Pansy, and that it's not fair. But Himawari defends Pansy, saying that while it feels unfair sometimes, it's also because they couldn't be honest with themselves. Asunaro joins in, telling them that if they could just be honest, everything would be worth it, as they could still be friends just like her and Joro. Cosmos and Himawari agree. After hearing their convictions, Cherry and Tsukimi confess for real whether Hasuki likes it or not. And of course, Hasuki rejects them both. With their confession up in the air, despite being rejected, they feel relieved. Then Cherry gives her hair clip to Joro, while Tsukimi gives hers to Hasuki. That puts Hasuki at 4 points, while Joro's still at 1. But it's not over yet. Suddenly, Tsubaki steps forward, and she gives her hair clip to Joro, as no rule says it has to be one of the original 6 girls. And just like that, Joro reveals his real plan and starts gaining support from the girls he's helped and from Mayama's crew, putting him at 10 points. He grins, thinking that he got the win. But Hasuki doesn't stay quiet, and with his faker-than-a-Kardashian smile, he reveals his secret weapon, one that he has planned all this time, which is girls from his school. A whole crowd of them. With all of them siding with Hasuki, it gives him 98 points. He's done hiding and his ego is on full display. Jiro looks at the score and admits that he's lost, as he has no more tricks. Then Hasuki drops the bomb about the rule change, where the loser can't talk to any of the girls, not just Pansy. Everyone's stunned. Himawari, Cosmos, and Asunaro want to take back their votes, but the rules are locked. Asunaro accuses Hasuki of cheating, but Hasuki says there's one way to undo it, and that is if they agree never to be friends with Pansy again. No one agrees, as they all still want to be her friends. Hasuki takes the lead and he turns to Pansy, asking for her answer and for Joro's finishing blow. But Joro grabs Hasuki's hand, telling him that the game's not over. Suddenly, Taio and Tampopo arrive late, but with backup. A crowd of girls from the school, who all cheered for the baseball team. Hasuki is stunned, and Oro, grinning, reminds him that while he was selling food, he wasn't selling food just for fun, but he was gathering support and hair clips. He reveals that he delivered the plan in secret to Taio when he handed him the water bottle, so Taio could help him get votes. With all the girls lining up, Joro now has 98 points, tied with Hasuki. Hasuki demands the final result of the game, hoping his team wins so he could get another point. Back then, Taio looks at his hat, and Tampopo said it was from his biggest fan. But it wasn't from her. Instead, it was from Joro. During a game-setting round, that gives Taio the push he needs. He goes all in, and they win the game, sending them to the Nationals and giving Joro another point, making him lead 99-98. Hasuki stands there, defeated, everything he built, shattered by a so-called side character. It leaves with only Panassi's vote, and he begs her to hive him so he can draw. He even tries to get Cherry and Tsukimi to ask Panassi for her clip. But unlike him, Joro never forces Panassi, and he leaves the choice to her. Panassi steps forward, lets her hair down, takes off her glasses, and reveals her true self. She faces Hasuki, which gives him a sliver of hope, but ends up giving her hair clip to Joro, giving him the absolute win. And then the final rule, and Pansy declares to Hasuki to never talk to her or any of her friends ever again. It knocks him out completely, and Hasuki is dragged away by Cherry and Tsukimi, leaving only Joro and the girls remain. Cosmos says it's time for Joro to choose a girlfriend. Mayama panics and accidentally confesses, then quickly switches back to tsundere mode. But Joro doesn't waste the moment. To everyone's shock, he accepts Pansy as his girlfriend, then Cosmos, then Himawari, then Asunaro. Pansy glares and asks what he means. With a smug smile, Joro replies that he wants one girlfriend for each day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then he realizes that Friday's still open. In the corner stands Mayama, and Joro, in his full Chad mode, asks her to be his gift girlfriend for Friday. Mayama instantly flares up and goes away in anger. Joro hits the ground and the girls walk off. Later, like always, Joro buys all of Tsubaki's fried food for Taio, and he tells her everything. He admits he refuses to pick one of the girls because he didn't want the girls to stop being friends with each other. Tsubaki nods and she understands completely. Joro picks up Taio and says that they're going out to celebrate. Taio, overwhelmed, tears up. They end their day with their favorite food, celebrating not just the win, but everything they've been through. Taio thinks back on the year. At first, a few girls liked him, but over time, everyone started liking Joro and forgetting Taio. But one person never did, Joro. While they enjoy their brotherly love, the girls watch the two of them smiling. Because in the end, nobody truly loses, and nobody truly wins, but they're all happy. Afterward, on his way home, Joro runs into Pansy in her glorious form, and she thanks him for keeping his promise, the same one he made her at the start, that he will help her make friends. He tells her that he will treat her for dinner, and she accepts his offer. Then they walk off together under the moon as a couple of lovers. Comment down below. Homie lover if you watch till the end. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video.